Welcome to another BASI Systems tutorial. I hope these tutorials help you in gaining insight into the use of the BASI Systems equipment, as well as displaying to you the exceptional quality of BASI Systems. Please visit basisystems.com for more information about the equipment and about purchasing the equipment. Today I'm going to address one of the issues that is an issue that every teacher struggles with to an extent: finding the best resistance setting for your client for any particular exercise. So not only the resistance setting, but the bar setting and the stopper setting. They all really work together. Where to put the bar, where to put the springs, and where to put the stopper. After years and years of teaching, to me it feels like second nature. I know exactly what I am looking for in terms of body position. So if we take someone lying on this reformer, I get down onto the reformer and I place my client in this position. I am looking for approximately 90 degrees or slightly less in the knee joint, meaning somewhere in the range of 80-90 degrees in the knee joint. The spine is in a neutral position. I may be in that position. Of course, that takes the knee into a little more flexion, and I'm probably more like 60-70 degrees. But you don't want to be in a position where you're cramped. You also don't want to be in a position where you're starting beyond 90 degrees. So what we do is we work with the foot bar, the spring setting, and the stopper. We've got all those adjustments right here. For me, the high bar, which is 60 degrees, the first stopper position, and then all springs on for the footwork is an exceptional position. On a day that I feel like working a little lighter, I have the springs on the first gear. On a day that I want to challenge myself a little more, I may move to the second gear. And a position that I often work in and I don't shy away from as long as I can keep my form is going onto the third gear. But I am relatively short. If I'm working with someone taller, we'll take the springs back to the first gear, and I'm working with someone taller. They lie on the reformer, and I feel their knees are too bent. They're in too much flexion of the knee. I simply take the springs off, and I move my stopper. I can go to the second stopper position. If this is the first, I can go to the second, to the third, and a giant leap to the fourth. Again, I'll show it on the other stopper. We can start with the first, second, third, and a leapfrog to the fourth for the really tall person. But let's go out in increments. So now we're on the second stopper position. I again put my springs on, and for convenience sake we will just put 3 red springs on. And this now feels like a very good position. The knee is where I want it to be. The flexion in the knees is exactly perfect for me. But now I want a little more tension, because this is on the first gear. I can either add one of the light springs, or I can tension those red springs a little more and go up in tension, and I can continue going up in tension either by going to the third gear or simply adding some of those lighter springs, either the yellow, which is a 25% spring, or the blue, which is a 50% spring. I'm going back onto the first gear, and I am working with someone now who is shorter than me. So what do we have here? We've got an adjustment of the bar to a 90-degree vertical angle. I am now 90 degrees. But as you can see, if I had to lie down now, and I'm working off my toes, that is much too much flexion. Much too much flexion. Even for someone short, that would be too much. So, what do? I have to move the stopper. I want this high bar because when the bar was at 60 degrees, it was too far away for this short person. So I need to move the stopper. I again take the stopper, I move it to there, put my springs on, and let's see how I look here. So I go down. That's starting to feel reasonable to me. Maybe still a bit too much flexion in the knee when I'm on my toes. So I come off again, and I take the springs off. I now go into that far position. Just wiggle it, it'll find its place. I put the springs on the first gear, and now I will probably be perfectly set up. Excuse me, I'm just moving the microphone. I will now be perfectly set up. And that feels about right for me, although still probably a little too close. But that vertical setting of the foot bar is not meant for someone like me. It's meant for someone very short to find the correct position. Something unique about the BASI Systems equipment is that even in this vertical position, it is so firm and so sturdy, it could bear any weight you threw at it. Again, I put that latch into its unlocked position. This one, I allow it to find its place at 60 degrees. Lock both sides. That is my standard bar setting for footwork. The high bar position. I now undo the springs. I take the stopper to the number one hole. I put the springs back on the first gear, and that is how we set the equipment up. Standard setting: high bar, first gear for the springs, first hole for the stopper, headrest down, shoulder rests in place. I will address the headrest and the shoulder rest in a different tutorial. And for more information, please visit basisystems.com. Thank you so much.